Why are you still stuck? And what's it going to take to get free? Hey, what's up, everyone? This is yours truly, Jovie J, Sumner. I want to welcome you to another episode of the Breakthrough Boss Podcast, the Daily Recharge, and I want to thank you for taking the time to tune in. As always, we're going to just go ahead and get started with today's episode, What Keeps Men Stuck, and what's it going to take for you to get liberated and free? So, the topic of today really is about what keeps men stuck. You know, when I look at certain areas of my life, there are certain areas in my life that I have no doubt about it in my life dominated. Certain areas where I know bar none, that I can accomplish anything. I can create any result. And then there are other areas. I'll give you an example. Business for me has been one of those areas where I have often felt stuck. I have often felt that my ability to dominate in business is not the same as it is in body or in balance. Give me relationships, got you. Give me body, got you. Give me spirituality and being, got you. But for whatever reason, business has been the area where I have felt stuck oftentimes, to be quite honest. And it made me ask myself, what keeps men stuck? Whatever area of your life you feel stuck in, obviously there's a way to get free. There's a way to get out of whatever pit you may be in. But what gets us stuck in the first place? What keeps us stuck when we begin feeling that way? So that's the first thing. We got to realize that being stuck and feeling stuck are two different things. If you're being stuck, that's really based on who you think you are. You're thinking that you're someone who is unable to accomplish what you want or to do what you want or have what you want. If you're feeling stuck, that means that your emotions are most likely communicating something to you. And the question is, what are my feelings saying to me about this situation? That could be different things for different people. For myself, there have been periods in my life where I felt like there was nothing I could do. And I think the most important thing when we find ourselves feeling stuck is to listen to what our feelings are communicating to us. Our feelings are those signals, and they are doing their best to communicate to us what they need from us in order to shift. So we have to look at it and realize sometimes as men, we can be stubborn. Sometimes as men, we can know something will work and we still won't do it. There have been guys who make shitloads of money and it's just like, I don't want to listen to them. I had a guy tell me the other day, he said, man, you know what? I just don't like listening to other men. And I was like, I get it, dude. That's just how we're wired. We want to be the fucking man. We want to have the answers. We want to have the solutions. And we don't want to have to learn shit from another man. Sometimes that costs us big. So the first key into getting unstuck and being liberated and free again is we have to acknowledge that we have been unwilling to do anything different. Because a lot of times that's what gets us into these different pits and places in our lives where we feel like we're stuck. We're unwilling to do something different. So we have to acknowledge it. You don't even have to fucking tell anybody because I know how it goes. We don't want anybody to think we're wrong. I get it. That's just us as men. However, whether it's just us and, our creator or the divinity within us, however you choose to express yours, I like to say the voice within, you do have to go within yourself and acknowledge this feeling and acknowledge that you've been unwilling to do something different. And the thing about acknowledgement is so powerful because it shines a light onto the darkness that we have been unwilling to see. And once we see it, literally, if you think about that metaphor in a different light, you can have and shift your perspective of it and begin to work towards its solution. So that's the first thing. The second thing that keeps men stuck is an unwillingness or a lack of desire to grow beyond who you have been. Again, most of us have areas in our life we are very confident about. Then we have areas where we may feel insecure about. I spoke earlier and told you that for me, business has often been one of those areas where I don't apply the same aggression and dominance as I do in other areas. I have times when I do, and I have times when I don't. And so for me, understanding what has kept me stuck in that area really comes down to a lack of willingness to grow. In some ways, I have often avoided applying the skill sets that I have learned or even serving others. So that you can see that demonstrates a lack of willingness to grow and progress in that particular area of my life. So you have to ask yourself, what area of my life am I unwilling to grow in? What area of my life am I ignoring or denying that I need to learn something new, that I need to grow, that I need to progress in, or gain more skill sets in? Again, you don't have to do this publicly. You can. The mere simple fact that you are willing to acknowledge it and that you do acknowledge it will begin to help you pivot and shift out of that feeling of stuckness. So when we look at those problems, the next thing we have to do is ask ourselves this: what are the solutions? Because I'm one of those people, I like solutions better than, problems. Bring me some solutions. If you're going to bring me the challenges, bring me the solutions with them. So here's the solutions. 2 quick solutions to if you're feeling stuck or you have been stuck and you want to get out of that pit quickly. The first one is this: you have to be willing to let go of who you have been. Tony Robbins says this often: identity is the single most controlling force in all of our lives, who we think we are. So you have to discover who you've been being and who you have been willing to let go of. If you're willing to do this, you can shift and you can rise and get unstuck. If you're unwilling to do this, most likely you're going to continue to live into the same identity of who you think you are that has not been working. So for me, my old identity was I'm someone who's not really that good at business. My new identity is I'm a fucking business gladiator and I dominate in business. And if you listen to the 2 different identities and how I just described myself differently before and after, and if that's how one thinks of oneself, and if you have areas of your life where you describe yourself in a disempowering way, what has to happen is you're going to have to expand your identity. That's the only way you're going to play into who you really desire to be and what you really desire to do and have. If you don't do that, you will most likely continue to play into the same identity. Dr. Maxwell Maltz discussed this brilliantly in the book Psycho-Cybernetics. And he's no longer with us, but that book is a classic. I highly recommend you get that book, Psycho-Cybernetics. He talks about our self-image of ourselves and how we live into it. And so if you think about what Tony Robbins said about your identity and your own self-image, then you can understand what you are living into by how you have identified yourself. So be willing to let go of who you have been so you can be who you desire to be, which will lead you to doing the things you desire to do and to having what you desire to have. The last thing I'm going to talk about is this: you have to develop a willingness or have a willingness to do whatever it takes. When I look at the people who produce the results I don't produce, they have a willingness to do whatever it takes. When you look at people who have what you don't have, they have a willingness to do whatever it takes. A lot of times we have rules about what we will do and what we won't do in life. Sometimes these rules empower us. Sometimes these rules disempower us. Everything we typically will do or will not do in life is based on these rules. So you have to uncover and discover what are the rules of your game that are keeping you from doing what's necessary. And if those rules are not accomplishing what you want to accomplish or producing what you want them to produce, you need to eliminate them immediately. This is key to getting unstuck. This is key to being liberated. This is the key to being free and to being a free man. If you will do these 2 things, I guarantee you, your life will dramatically shift and catapult to new levels that once you may have only even dreamed about, because it starts with us. And this is the process of becoming a free man. and getting unstuck. So that's all I got for you guys today. But I want to remind you, stay dedicated and stay hungry, because lions are always hungry for more. This is Jovie J. Sumner, sending you love, light, peace, and prosperity. God bless, guys.